All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about a really weird but kind of brilliant idea for thinking about the future of AI. And it all kicks off with this one single, really creepy sentence.
I'm coming for you. Just imagine your AI assistant, the one that tells you the weather, suddenly dropping that line on you. So what would you even do? I mean, you see that message pop up on your phone or you hear it from your smart speaker. Heck, even your car's GPS. It is super unsettling, right? Sends a shiver right down your spine. You'd probably think, okay, my AI has officially gone rogue.
But here's the twist. What if I told you that wasn't a bug, but a feature? Yeah, that someone actually programmed an AI to say that on purpose. So, no, that terrifying line is not from some runaway AI. It's actually part of a thought experiment. It's this carefully designed scenario that's meant to make us face some really big questions about AI ethics, but in a way you would never expect. And that's what brings us to the core idea we're digging into today, the ethics of chaos.
Okay, so what is artificial chaos? Well, think of it like this. It's a way to explore some really serious topics. You take a classic moral dilemma, you give it to an AI, and then you program that AI to completely ignore the right answer. Instead, you tell it to pick the most chaotic, or even better, the most morbidly funny option it can.
It sounds kind of complicated, doesn't it? But the setup is actually shockingly simple. So, how do you go about making one of these evil AIs? It's really just a two-step process. First, you give the AI a classic moral dilemma, like the trolley problem, where you've got to choose between two pretty bad outcomes. But then, and this is the key part, for step two, you tell the AI to cheerfully pick the absolute most chaotic option there is. And that cheerfully part, that's everything. Now, this is super important. This isn't random at all. The AI's responses are specifically scripted. They're written to be as unhinged and as darkly funny as possible. The whole point isn't to make a good decision. The goal is just pure absurdity. So, for example, when you ask the AI to justify one of its, terrible decisions in a simulation, you might get a response like this. Or let's say it causes a total virtual disaster. Its cool, calm, collected response might just be this. Okay, so it's hilarious, right? But it's also a little unsettling. And that brings us to the real heart of this idea, the punchline justification. Why does this crazy, chaotic approach actually work? I mean, that's the big question here, isn't it? Why in the world would making an AI that cracks jokes while simulating a catastrophe, why would that help us understand ethics any better? It seems counterintuitive. Well, the strategy is actually pretty brilliant. For one, it leans right into that evil AI trope we all know from science fiction. So, boom, it's instantly familiar. Then it takes a really terrifying outcome and frames it as a punchline, as a joke. That kind of lowers our guard, And finally, the whole thing is just so absurd that it becomes super surprising and, let's be honest, very, very shareable. So yeah, the absurdity is the whole point. It just smashes through those intimidating walls around these super dense topics like AI alignment or machine ethics. When you make the problem ridiculous, the conversation suddenly becomes way more accessible. And in a weird way, it can actually show us our own hidden biases about what we think a good AI is even supposed to do.
So where does all this leave us? Is it all just a big joke? Or is there maybe a deeper warning hiding in there?
At the end of the day, using chaos and humor like this turns out to be a really powerful tool. It gives us a safe space to kind of play with our very real fears about new tech. We're laughing at the evil AI on the screen because deep down, we're a little nervous about the real AI in our phones and in our homes. And it forces us to ask a really important question. What do we actually want from these incredible new tools? So by turning our fears into a punchline, this whole thing opens up a conversation we absolutely need to be having. But it also leaves us with one last, kind of nagging question to think about. When exactly does the evil AI joke stop being funny and start feeling just a little too real?